We're reading third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 20, text 32. You have it on the board? Or are you going to put it on the board? Aho Rupam Aho Danyam Aho Asya Navan Vaya Madhye Kamayayamaninam Atmeya Visarpati Aho Rupa Maho Danyam Aho Asha Navam Vaya Maje Kamaya Mayanirnam Akma Vena Visapati Aho Rupa Maho Daryam Aho Asha Navam Vaya Maje Kasmaya Nani Nam Mena Visapati Aho Rupa Maho Danyam Aho Asha Navam Vaya Maje Kamaya Manananam Akameva Visapati
Horupam Mahodharyam
Upam Ho Daryam
Aho Asyanavam Vayaha
Aho Asha Navam Vaya
Manye Kamaya Mahanam
Manye Kamanya Mananam
Kameva Visarpati
Akameva Visapati
Aho Rupam Mahodharyam
Aho Upam Ho Danyam
Aho Asya Navangaya
Aho Asha Navam Vaya
Madhye Kamaya Mananam
Maje Kamaya Mananam
Akameva Visarpati
Akameva Visarpati
Aho Rupam Mahodaryam
Aho Upam Ho Danyam
Aho Asyanavam Vayaha
Aho Asha Navam Vaya
Madhye Kamaya Mananam
Maje Kamaya Mananam
Akameva Visarpati
Karmeva Visarpati
Aho Rupam Aho Daryam
Aho Rupam Aho Daryam
Aho Asyanavam Vayaha
Aho Asha Navam Vaya
Madhye Kamaya Mananam
Nanam
Akameva Visarpati
Akarmeva Visarpati Aho Rupam Aho Danyam Aho Asha Navam Vaya
Madhye Kamaya Mananam
Mane Kamaya Mananam
Akameva Visarpati
Akarmeva Visarpati
Aho Rupam Mahodharyam
Aho Rupam Aho Danyam
Aho Asya Navam Vaya
Aho Asha Navam Vaya
Madhe kamaya mananam
Manye karmaya mananam.
akameva visarpati.
Karmeva visarpati.
Ahorupam ahodaryam.
Aho rupa mahodaryam.
Aho asya navam vaya.
Aho asya navambaya.
Madhye kamaya mananam.
Manye karmaya mananam.
Akameva visarpati.
Akarmeva visarpati.
Aho Rupa Mahodaryam
Aho rupa mahodaryam.
Aho Asyanvam Vayaha
Aho asya navambaya.
Madhye Kamaya Mananam
Madhe kamaya mananam.
Akameva Visarpati.
Akarmeva visarpati.
Aho rupam aho daryam.
Aho rupa mahodaryam.
Aho asya navam vahyaha.
Aho asya navambaya.
Mathya kamaya kamananam.
Madhye karmaya mananam.
Akameva visarpati.
Akarmeva visarpati. So everyone chanted and went online.
अहो रूपम् अहो धैर्यम् अहो अस्यानवं वयः मध्ये कामयमानानाम् अकामेव विसर्पति
अहो रूपम् अहो धैर्यम् अहो अस्यानवं वयः मध्ये कामायमानानाम् अकामेव विसर्पति
अहो रूपमहो दार्यम् अहो अस्यानवं वयः मध्ये कामयमानानाम् अकामेव विसर्पति
Ahorupam ahodaryam. Aho asya navam vayaha. Madhye kamayaman nananam. Akameva visarpati.
Aho. Oh. Rupam. What beauty. Aho. On. Oh. Davyam. What self-control. Aho. Oh. Asha. Her. Navam. Budding. Vaya. Youth. Madhe. In the midst. Karmaya mananam. Of those passionately longing for. Akarma. free from passion. Eva, light. Vishaparati, walking with us. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The demons praised her. Oh, what a beauty! What rare self-control! What a budding youth in the midst of us all, who are passionately longing for her. She is moving about like one absolutely free from passion. So yeah, that's the demons. They're having their beauty pageant. But it says they jump out of their seats, their glasses fall off, their hearts go boom, 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 and they do these tap whistles and clap and stuff. So here's the demons that are clamoring over the twilight. One of the sannyasis who was saying that like whether this is an hallucination that they're not seeing the twilight properly due to their lust, but seeing the twilight as this beautiful woman, or this is actually the personification of twilight as a beautiful woman, right? You know, and she's doing things too. She's bouncing a ball. Prabhupada says that men, they make arrangements with women to go play tennis with subtle sex life. You see the specific mechanical workings of the body of the opposite sex. You know, how the hair moves and things like that, and bodily movements. So yeah, I'll read the next couple of verses. We have a good purport coming up. Because that's the thing, material attachment to sex life. You know, that what's one of the sannyasis, when I first joined the movement, he was saying that sex life rivets one's attachment to the material body. It rivets the self-identification of identifying with the material body. So it's let's see, text 33. With the word, Vitarkayato Bahoda Tansan Yam Pramantritam Abhisamaya Bhava Isha But Prayachan Kumushadaha. Indulging in various speculations about the evening twilight, which appeared to them endowed with the form of a young woman, the wicked-minded asuras treated her with respect and fondly spoke to her as follows. Kaskashas Ramhato Kovartaste Ramani Rupa Davina Parina Durbhagnan no Vidhapsasi. Who are you, O pretty girl? Whose wife or daughter are you? And what can be the object of your appearing before us? Why do you tantalize us, unfortunate as we are, with the priceless commodity of your beauty? Report by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The mentality of the demon is being enamored by the false beauty of this material world is expressed herein. The demoniac can pay any price for the skin beauty of this material world. They work very hard all day and night, but the purpose of their hard work is to enjoy sex life. Sometimes they misrepresent themselves as karma yogis, not knowing the meaning of the word yoga. Yoga means to link up with the Supreme Personality of Godhead or to act in Krishna consciousness. A person who works very hard, no matter in what occupation, and who offers the result of the work to the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is called a karma yogi. So that's the real definition of a real karma yogi. So yeah, there's yoga schools and gurus institutions, but the yoga societies in the cities, right, that are unauthorized. They're performing yogic gymnastics for a healthier body and better sex life and things like that. So, but that's not the goal of yoga, or what they called asana yoga, where they were saying hatha yoga. It's your specific asana, right? So it's to keep the body and the mind fit and healthy for engaging in devotional service. So it's not the end. The physical gymnastics of yoga is not the end. That's it. That's just to keep you fit and strong and healthy, like that. And so they have it misinterpreted. They don't follow any rules or regulations. So that's what in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna states that the demoniac tendencies. They have no rules or regulations. They act whimsically. They invent their own. They invent their own sadhana. You know, practically even invent their own Brahman, or invent their own deity. They invent their own gods, like that. You know, even their misinterpretation. Basically, in comparison to the so-called modern scientific knowledge of advancement and social political fields, it's not real knowledge. They don't know what's really to be done, what's not to be done. Prabhupada said they're theorizing. Perhaps, maybe, might be like this, perhaps might be like that, but they don't really know for sure. Still kind of feeling around in the dark, even like, oh yeah, they've got all the satellites and Hubble telescopes and James Webb telescope. They're all out there looking at some comets coming into the planet, into the universe. They don't know what it is. They think it's something harmless. They're going to watch it coming through. They think it might actually be mechanical with rockets. They're still not sure. It's kind of acting kind of strange. They're watching another comet. It's going to be orbiting the Earth, kind of like the moon for a while. It comes into the universe every I don't know, thousands of years or something like that. So they're still feeling around in the dark. They got their mechanical arrangements. They have them situated in orbit around the planet, and they're looking and they're watching at things, but they don't really know for sure. Everything's just all kind of tested, like that. So they're still theorizing. They really don't know what it is. They're watching it. So and looking into the workings of matter. So you can see how, like, Brahma, he's composed the universe according to the instructions of Krishna to create the universe. And Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita, there's it Api Vayu. It's earth, water, fire, bhumi, api, vayu. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. These 8 material elements comprise my separated material energy. So everything in the material world is a combination of these elements. Prabhupada said, as soon as you hear sound, you know that ether is present, right? So, as soon as there's taste, there's water. Krishna says he's the taste of water. As soon as there's a smell. So according to the specific conditions, the earth is earth, right? And has all the nutrients and everything within the earth. And according to the seed, right? But everything's dormant within the earth. The rose flower produces a rose scent, and the fruits and the vegetables produce so many different types of scents and tastes. It's all originally dormant in the earth, right? So they can look into the tiny workings of, like, photons. They're getting them to exist simultaneously in a 0 and 1 position in order to perform some computation and calculations. So they're still manipulating Krishna, and they still haven't created anything. They still haven't made any life, created any life. They have some artificial intelligence that's, it seems to be getting a little better, a little smarter, kind of a little more personable, a little more sensitive to your inquiries to kind of answer more in a natural way. Come up some better search results. Or and actually even format stuff. It's not perfect. It's still kind of, what they call it, hallucinates and makes things up. It doesn't have all the facts straight, all the facts right. But it's a useful tool, for doing some research and formatting and things like that. It can't be 100% relied upon. So that's not actually like real knowledge. Technology has its limits. No matter how advanced that it may seem to be or to become. I know one journalist, he said, we're going to very, very soon, very shortly, we're going to be in a completely different world than what the world used to be. Gora Nitai Ki Jai. So that's the nature of the material world. The material world is changing. And that's the nature of material attachment. What is it? Attached to the material body, the material bodily conception of life. And of course, what they were saying, and sex life is the chief. So that's the whole idea, is to curb our passions. There was what in the purport, the demons, they're very much attracted and fond of the opposite sex. But for the devotee, it's not so much of a big giant attraction. Basically the whole idea is like, devotees are devotees. They're not the karmis, sense gratifiers. But even in the karmi sense gratifiers, they're kind of mean and cruel about the whole thing anyway. So you can't shut up. It's time to get out, but there's laws that protect them. They can't get out of your house even if they're stealing from you. It's an act of Congress. You divorce them and they actually get your house, your property, your money. Yeah. You have a question?
So in this verse, the demons, they were speaking very sweetly to the form that is, that they were imagining. And this, I thought it was interesting that though they are demons who are filled with lust, for the sake of sense gratification, they show a side of sweetness.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's the demons for you. What is it? They're, I guess, what is it? Well, they're trying to, attract the attention or attract the mind of the opposite sex. Yeah. They, what is it? I'll comb their hair, kind of water their hair down, get some Jerry, what is it? Jerry gel or something in your hair, Vitalis or something, right? Something that the women like. Button your shirt up, or something. Put the cufflinks on, the expensive shoes, something that's attractive to the woman's mind. Now they would speak to a demon, like to a, one general demon to another general demon. What is it? Waging war, or diplomacy, trying to, what is it? Negotiate a peace treaty or something. But yeah, they want to like scare her away. Want to attract her. That's what Prabhupada was saying, that when a man, he meets with a woman, and the man, he's thinking if he can get the chance to have intercourse with her. I don't know what the woman's thinking, or she's thinking that hoping that maybe the guy's not thinking he wants to have sex or something. Who knows what's going on? Yeah, you have a question?
Something that caught my attention in the purport. Prabhupada said that he mentioned the so-called karma yogis who do these practices merely to satisfy their senses. Can you speak on that? Like, what way does someone get trapped into doing something like asanas and things like this, just to, instead of, like you said before, the goal is to improve the bhakti yogi, you know what I mean? Is improve that state, but they rather use it for sensual pleasure. Like, how does that get misconstrued? Because that just seems so confusing to me, you know?
Right, yeah, it is. Well, basically, they're not accepting Krishna. Krishna says that their intelligence is stolen by illusion. Maya aprita jnana. Maya aprita jnana. Their knowledge is stolen by illusion. Let's see. Is that the verse where those who deride me when I descend in my personal form, not knowing my higher nature is transcendental and supreme? Let's see, is there Mudha Diskritina Maya Aprita Jnana? Their Mudha asks, they assume that Krishna before was impersonal as the Brahman, and now he's assumed this form through the agency of Maya, and that he will originally return back to impersonal, and in the ultimate sense is impersonality. So there's a misunderstanding with the actual absolute truth as being Brahman, as being Brahman, Paramama, and Bhagavan. As Prabhupada was saying, and it's stated in first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, that the Supreme is realized by the specific vision of the specific types of yogis as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So Bhagavan is like super Brahman, and Paramatma is super soul, and impersonal Brahman. So they're speculating. The demons, they're taking the the Vedic culture has become like a hodgepodge, demigod worship, and whatever deity you worship, whether it's Durga, Shiva, Brahma, Vishnu, it all leads to the same place, which isn't the fact. There are specific divisions, like that of the material energy, Durga, Maya, and her functions. But when they're seeing things in the form of an impersonal way, the way that we're seeing the universe now, according to our limited perspective, the universe is vacant. There's no life. We don't see it. We see it in an impersonal way. We see the sun as a ball of fire, not as a chariot being driven by horses, and the sun god who controls it, right? And his drivers. And there's Asura and a Deva, right? And within the chariot, and there's a whole society within the whole sun planet. But we're seeing this big ball of fire, right? With seeing through the eyes of knowledge of Shastra Chakshusha, with an intelligence, within our minds, we can understand. Okay, it appears like a big ball of fire, but actually, it's a chariot. It's the sun god, and this life there. We can't see it, but on other planes of more subtle dimensions of mind, intelligence, false ego, the society, the demigods, do exist on the other planets. But it's due to our angle of vision that we're just seeing a pile of rocks and dust and a barren horizon. Even with the robotic arrangements that they have for trying to investigate and take the samples. Yeah, you have a question. Yeah, you have a question.
Do you think I could add to that conversation?
Yeah.
So, specifically, Prabhupada here is mentioning this type of mentality, which is based on a misconception from the Bhagavad Gita. Many persons, especially at Prabhupada's time, there's a famous verse of Bhagavad Gita which states that one is entitled to do his work. And then that's the part that they quote. Every man gets to do his work, right? That's the part that they quote. It's famous. But then the other part says, but they're not entitled to the results of their activities. That's the main point there. Everyone is going to work, and everyone is going to work according to his nature. But the idea is that consciousness changes, and we actually end up giving some of the results of our work to Krishna, and that's called yoga. If we don't give it to Krishna, then we're just doing whatever the heck we want, and we're actually just karmis. We're not karma yogis. So the idea is that Prabhupada would tell the devotees, he said that everyone wants to eat. Everyone is going to eat. You're eating for yourself only. But you cook for yourself, or you cook, right? But you give it to Krishna first. So you're cooking, that's what you're going to do, but you give the result of your cooking efforts, which is a nice plate of food, to Krishna. And then that's called yoga. Actually, that's called karma yoga. That's the thing, is that when I actually serve Krishna what Krishna wants to eat, that's the bhakti level. So it's called karma mishra bhakti, you could say, or karma yoga. That's the idea. So this is the point, is that we can do what we're going to do, and at the lowest level of yoga, then we have to give the results. Prabhupada said, if you give 100% of your results to Krishna, then your activity is 100% transcendental. So in the early days, there was the devotees, and he told them, you go and work, literally give your whole paycheck. They did it. That means that when they were working, that was all yoga, right? Whereas if we just work, right, we may think of Krishna, that's a little yoga. But if we give everything that we make to Krishna, literally, the whole paycheck, then that whole activity is spiritualized.
That's nice. Yeah, Bhagavad Gita says one who sees action and inaction, and inaction is actually wise and actually sees. So when the karma yogi and bhakti yogi were acting in Krishna consciousness, all right, there's a chapter, was it it's 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, action in Krishna consciousness. So one is being purified from their karma. So there's vikarma, karma, and akarma. So there's karma is not actually really understood very well. There's those actions, akarma, which purify your karma, eradicate karma. And then there's those sinful reactions, which are vikarma, which create karma according to your specific sinful actions. Even actions that are meritorious in the standard of the material world are still accumulating karma for the living entity. And of course, everything that's done on the material platform, it's in the bodily conception of life, is sinful activities. As it's karmically reactive. But just add one thing, Krishna, put Krishna in the center of these activities. Like formerly the kings were Raja Rishis. They were great saintly kings. And when Maharaj Prisket ruled, the earth and the atmosphere was reciprocating with that. There was pleasant, regular rainfall in the morning and vegetation. The hills give jewels and gems, and the oceans give pearls, right? Gold mines. But the earth withdraws these things. and the weather, the rains don't become regulated, and becomes droughts and water shortage, right? And the vegetation doesn't do well, and so it's all misappropriated according to the bodily conception of life. The demons, they want everything for themselves, so you know they can feed the world so many times over with so many different commodities which are produced and grown in so many different nations, but they're just simply throwing it away. They're not selling it, sharing it. Who knows what's going on right now at the international? I'm still waiting for the order for the oils made from Vrindavan flowers. Been trying to figure that one out. It's been about 3 months now, but maybe we have to make some other adjustments, right? Yukta Vairagya, right? Yukta Vairagya, it's knowledge and detachment. So by utilizing things like the motor car and the jet plane and the computers and the technology, we utilize these things in Krishna's service so that it becomes not karmically reactive, although it's the same activity, but it's on a different level. It's not driving the car to get to work and get home. That's one thing, but it's still on the bodily platform without God consciousness, like that. So, yeah, so it's a misinterpretation. They basically think that everything is basically impersonal, and that by practicing yoga asanas and pranayama breathing practices and concentrating the mind on impersonal Brahman, one will become self-realized. Maybe to that specific point, but the actual real point of it is to keep your body and mind fit and strong and healthy for engaging in devotional service. It's not an end and a means in itself, like that. So yeah, that's what the knowledge is stolen by illusion. They're generally impersonalists. They haven't heard that the impersonal Brahman, Krishna is the basis of impersonal Brahman. But one yogi is known as a specific type of yogi, either as a Brahmananda or with a Stanga yogi or mystic yogi or a Bhakta, according to their nature of realization on either Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan. So, but it eventually one will need to come to the shelter of the lotus feet of a devotee and receive the mercy of a devotee and engage in devotional service. And then the devotee's prerogative is that the only devotee who engages in devotional service actually can understand Krishna consciousness, and devotional service. There has to be an element of bhakti or devotional service in order to actually understand that. Otherwise, it's like the bees on the outside of the bottle of honey trying to taste the honey without opening the jar of honey, like that. So that's actually the secret. That's why, like the mystic yogis who are aspiring for mystic cities, it's required that they worship the deity, right? Because there has to be a specific element of bhakti there to meditate on Vishnu within the heart to attain cities. So they still have material desires for material perfections, like that. They're still not perfect yet with wanting to be desire less by desiring for Krishna, by engaging in Krishna service, dovetailing everything. So that's the Yukta Vairagya, or engaging everything in the service of Krishna, right? With knowledge and detachment. Yeah, so does that answer your question and everything? Okay. You have a question?
Sorry, when you talk to like this, when you talk to the sun and nature, the warriors on the battlefield demonstrate
Well, the Kshatriya warriors, Prabhupada describes Kshatriya warriors. They're fierce warriors. They're very, very warlike. you know, of course, they were very diplomatic, but that they were extremely strong. I don't know exactly what they did to become so strong and stout, but you know, in the age of Kali Yuga, people's lives become shortened, and our size, 6 feet tall is considered to be tall, or 7 feet tall is really tall, right? But apparently, the Pandavas were like 9 to 12 feet tall. We have becoming diminished, and you know, even like the Renaissance swords of like the knights, their swords were made of crafted really heavy steel, and they're swinging these things around like in warfare and stuff, right? But the thing was, the Kshatriya weapons were just like that. The Lord Boar had the Hiranyaksha, and Lord Boar was fighting with maces. Imagine what that mace is, you know, and how heavy that mace would be, and be hitting someone with it and swinging it around and fighting with it, right, and blocking with it, right, you know, or the arrows. I looked up online. They showed the Kshatriya arrows, and they're solid steel, you know, and they're chanting mantras, and they're putting them into bows, like, you know, as quicker than the eye can follow it, faster than the eye, faster than eyesight, right? Chanting mantras and filling the whole sky with these arrows, and they're really, really heavy duty, solid steel, you know. So they're, but I don't know what they did to keep their bodies fit, if they practiced yoga or not. But I know that they practiced the art of warfare, where they learned the Dhanur yoga, or Dhanur Veda. The Veda, it's called the art of throwing arrows, right? It's the Dhanur Veda, right? Yeah. So I'm quite sure they had some sort of practice. They were doing something. Okay, any other questions or comments? Or okay, Srimad Bhagavatam, class T. Joy.